Hi, I'm Dmitry,
Hi, I'm Anton.
and we're at TorDev, and we're gonna do some IntelliJ coding.
Some coding in IntelliJ.
Yeah, cool. With some tooltips from professionals.
Let's try it.
Okay, so
So we are going to write some code that is going to read. We assume it's going to read a file
yeah,
line by line
yeah,
into some collection and do some transformations of that collections
yeah.
as well.
So
So
we need main function.
obviously,
Okay, so should I do it this way?
so yeah, that's an obvious way how you generate the main function. But starting from the recent IntelliJ versions, you can actually use just main.
Yeah, that's what I typed, but I misspelled it.
Okay. Yeah, so it's the
Cool.
same. So we have two live templates for the same thing.
Cool.
I usually actually generate a live template for myself to do the same, but that throws the exception.
Oh,
Because
I
I'm
see.
too lazy to handle the exceptions afterwards. It's just more efficient.
Yeah, cool. So now reading a file.
Reading a file. So how do we read a file from
In Java,
in Java?
who knows? File dot autocomplete?
We can use the old way, like buffered reader.
Or file reader. I would just start with file reader. Do I need to buffer things?
You probably, if you want to read it line by line, you actually need a buffered reader.
Yeah, well, okay, but I still think that's the basic thing. If I want to read a file, that's what I would do.
Okay.
Sorry for going off.
Aha.
So I can do that.
Just
but,
fix it.
yeah, so if I do something like that, then need a buffered reader.
Buffered reader.
So that's the
Okay.
thing.
Right. So you're typing from right to left, kind of. You
Yeah.
created the right hand side and then the left hand side. But if we started from the left hand side, we would be able to use the completions, the smart completions of
So you
IntelliJ
mean if you
IDEA.
do buffered?
No, if you just start buffered, you declare the variable, like
Oh, I see.
because the type on the left will actually help the tooling
Hmm.
to suggest the correct type to you.
So then I do this.
Yeah. So you did just basic completion using ctrl+space, right? But if we do it like this, we get a bunch of suggestions that have no relevance.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, it sounds like looks.
Yeah,
looks
why does it even show
terrible.
it? Like,
I don't know,
by-
but there is also a smart completion in IntelliJ. It's ctrl+shift+space and gives
Yeah.
me the real stuff here. So a buffered reader, right?
Yeah.
And if we proceed in the same way, it's going to actually suggest what we really need in that specific place, right? So the file reader, I'm gonna do the longer way, like file and like file.txt. That's what we wanted. Kind of a long line, and we can
Yeah.
extract the variable here. And a very cool feature in IntelliJ is that if you have nesting like this, it will suggest the expression, like the list of expressions,
Yeah.
which one you want to extract. So let's do a file reader. Good. So now we have the two lines, and we are going to read it into the collection. We can now actually use this approach that you used before, like typing the right hand side of the expression and then extracting a variable. Like we are going to use an ArrayList.
Yeah.
That's a very cool completion, by the way, that you can just use the first letters of the class name,
Camel
like
case.
camel
things,
case,
right?
and probably you can do it even like this sometimes. But it's just like there is a lot more matches. That is why we are not. Oh, it's actually in the first
Yeah,
option.
yeah.
So
Works.
you don't have to type all the capital letters here. So array list of strings, and if we immediately extract the variable right here, the this presentation mode actually overlaying stuff. But anyways,
Yeah.
so it moved the generic parameter from the right to
Yeah,
left.
yeah, that's cool.
That's really cool. And for a lot of users, IntelliJ is actually suggesting things in a small font, like everywhere. Currently, we have a presentation mode. It's pretty big. The font is pretty
Yeah.
big. But when you're like in normal mode, this very last line of this list Like
Yeah, it's smaller, so nobody
it's really
notices
small.
it,
Not
right?
nobody notices, but it's really useful sometimes. For instance,
Yeah.
here it tells us that we can change the type for
Yeah.
whatever reason. If I don't like to program to interfaces,
Yeah.
I can choose the real type
Yeah, yeah.
like this. Done. Boom. Okay, and
This is Java, not 12, right? Because there is Java without type inference. We have 11 probably, right?
we currently have 13.
Oh, no, I mean here, right? In
Here-
this project, I think
in
it's
this-
11.
Okay, but
So just to-
the,
to
the code
mention that.
we are writing here is more like Java
8.
8. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be Java 8 at
Yeah,
the end,
cool.
but probably the way we are writing it right now is probably even Java 6.
Yeah.
It's like the very, very old. So we have a reader, we have a collection where to read the lines, and now we are going to need some buffer variable,
Yeah.
something
cool.
like a string and a line, and then we are going to read the lines one by one in a loop. So we're gonna need a while loop, and we need to assign something to the line. So now we gotta invoke something on the reader.
Yeah, that's
I never remember actually how to do
Read
that.
line.
Like read line.
Yeah.
So if you do remember,
just
there is
smart
a very
completion.
smart completion. Or if you do remember, you can actually you know that there is a reader. So
Yeah.
you can type the first letter, dot, and then there is a very high chance that you will actually get the method on the top that you're looking for. So we could do something r.r and just get the read line.
This
but
is
the
still
other
not smart completion, right? Because
It's-
smart completion
no.
type checks, right?
it's just the
normal
basic
completion,
one
yeah.
because it should be fast.
Mhm.
But the smart one here, like if we invoke the smart
Yeah.
completion, it actually does nothing. But if we do it the second time,
yeah.
so like 2 times basically, so this is the
Super-
second
super
time.
smart.
Super smart completion is going to scan the whole world like that you have in your project and try to find the reachable kind of places.
Traverses all the graph
Yeah.
from the current, but it's how deep it goes. Just one
One.
level.
Actually, no.
No?
I think if there are chains, I haven't tried.
Maybe it just times out also, and if it takes 1 second, it will just stop probably, something like that.
I don't know the
Okay.
implementation, but here in our context we have a reader, so it
Yeah.
found the reader and it scanned all the methods that could return a string, and it suggests that
Yeah.
read line is a good option.
Yeah.
Cool stuff. So it shouldn't be null, so we're going to read until it's null, the end of file, and complete the statement. And now we actually need to fix this read line. It throws an exception, IO exception, right? And how would you navigate there?
Well, F2, I know it's easy. F2 jump
F2.
to the error.
So like F2 would jump to the error, but it's the single error. What would if we had
Shift F2.
2
Reverse.
errors and then just for those who are
Shift
watching,
F2.
Shift F2. If we want to go to the first one from this position, we need to use Shift F2.
Yeah.
Or if we wanted to go forward,
Yeah.
we need to use
But it's
just
the same as other actions. You do like F3, Shift F3,
yeah.
and it works in like many other environments. Like OS X also is like search, one shortcut with Shift it goes back, right?
Exactly.
So,
And
automatic.
this year, I don't remember exactly the version when it was added. When you navigate using F2 or Shift F2, it actually brings up this pop-up here.
yeah, that's very recent. I'm not sure if I like it. I'll think about it.
I think it
Maybe I'll
requires
disable.
some getting used to,
Yeah.
because but the feature of it is that you get the shortcut to the first action of AltEnter.
Yeah, I
Normally
noticed,
you would
yeah.
hit AltEnter and then choose an option to fix
Yeah,
this
but
code.
now there is like, if you believe in defaults, if you know
Yes.
them well, right?
Add
So-
exception to method signature. You
yeah.
actually see the
Sorry,
default.
I didn't want to do this. So it's more visible what's going on.
Okay.
So, yeah, it was file not found thrown.
So
from
let's do it again. So Shift F2 and
AltEnter.
Alt.
Oh
Shift
yeah, new shot.
Enter. Boom.
Yeah.
So what happened now is that it replaced the file not found exception with IO exception,
Yeah.
and it works. So, what should we do with the line now? We should add it to the
Strings. Yeah.
strings array list, right? So s.a we know the completion already. Enter, and then command space, basic completion line. I would probably, even if I did it myself normally, I would probably type the first letter, because when I'm typing, we get the real time of the completion, which works pretty fast, and I would do it like this. And now we actually have to close the statement, and there are, in this particular situation, it's funny, I probably count 6 ways how to do that.
Oh wow, okay. I think I have my own shortcut for this action complete statement, so I just always press this.
Yeah,
in cases like
if
that,
you get used to that, you start using it all the time.
Yeah.
So command shift enter is.
Yeah, I have a different shortcut, which is more convenient, but
all right.
I'm joking. That's more convenient for me.
All right. So the other option would be a naive one, just use arrow and put a semicolon.
Yeah.
And in this specific case, there is like the shortest path to it is just to press a semicolon. It will actually see that it's before the closing braces, and it will move the cursor and put the semicolon in there. So that's funny. I think we counted a few more options how you can put the semicolon in this situation. It was interesting
you just leave
exercise.
it, then do F2, and then like fix my compilation error type of thing?
Yes.
Okay.
Most likely. We can try. So if you do F2,
yeah,
exactly.
That's
Put the semicolon.
just type it. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So now we have all the lines in the collection, but we probably want to skip the empty lines, or like have some condition.
Okay.
Maybe if you are reading a file and we want to support comments, and if the string starts with whatever. So let's skip the empty lines here. And normally, people who don't know shortcuts, they would do something like this: jump to the first character, put an enter, start typing if blah blah blah.
The line something is empty. Yeah. But you want to use postfix or something? I
could probably either use.
I don't use postfix. I think it has to be
we
before.
don't have a postfix for if actually. You can create one.
I'm sure in Kotlin it exists at least.
Well, probably not consistent.
Oh yeah, you see it is there.
There is, but if it's this close statement, then it doesn't work.
Yeah, cool.
So we can actually use a surround with light template.
Oh yeah.
Shortcut. So command option T.
Yeah, what I found a little bit annoying that the numbers are different between languages. I wish it was the same number for like wrap and try catch, and Kotlin and Java and Groovy all different.
I see.
So that's a bit of like weird thing. That's why I don't use it that often. But yeah, that's an option.
So we're gonna use if and start typing. Line is empty, and then damn, I forgot to put the exclamation mark in there. And in IntelliJ IDEA, it's when you select some option from the list, if it's selected, and it returns a boolean, you can close the completion or finalize the completion by pressing the exclamation mark. Yeah. So if I do that right now, it's going to complete the statement and put the exclamation mark where it's needed, and actually move the cursor back to the correct location where I was there. Like, boom. So I don't have to go here and then here again, so on. Okay, so we have read all the lines. We don't need the reader anymore. We can close it. Do it in a naive way here.
Yeah, no try catch.
Yeah, no
try finally.
We just use the throws anyway. So
oh yeah, well.
Closing files is for weak.
Yeah, well, JVM will. There is finalize right on readers. JVM will close it for us.
Oh, we hope.
Yeah. Well, you cannot guarantee, but.
Okay, so what could we do with the collection now? For instance,
just print it. No?
We could print it, but it's pretty often that you are using different APIs, different libraries in your projects, right? And some of the APIs are using the collections API, and some of the libraries are using arrays.
Okay, yeah.
So it's pretty often the case you have to transform from array to the collection or from the collection to the array. And in fact, there is a live template for that. If you want to transform a collection to the array. So there's a 2R And the problem with this live template is that it's a little bit outdated, and you will see in a moment why. It creates object. It's not that smart. Why didn't it actually suggest me to use a string?
Yeah.
That's strange. Okay, string, and for the initial size, it takes the strings.size, which is not really correct starting from Java 6, like for ages. So we don't really need to specify the string size in there. But okay, let's extract the variable.
There must be a utrack issue for this, right?
There is a utrack issue, but there is actually an inspection as well. So if we go to like F2 here, it tells us that hey, it's wrong. If I had like a touchpad, if I would hover, like put the cursor over this error, it will actually display. Or maybe you should press the dots there.
Oh, lost.
Yeah.
No, too hard.
Too hard. That's a touchpad.
Press it.
Okay, I think it was somewhere else. But anyways, there was like a pop-up explaining why it's yellow. Like.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. It's just it gives more context about the warning. Right?
Yeah. So basically the description of the inspection, and the inspection says that.
I think it's Command F1. You can try.
Command F1.
Yeah, and again. No, again, run. Forget it. Nah.
Yeah, it's something else, but
yeah, I know what you mean.
Probably the marker on the right, which is the yellow one you see.
Yeah.
So, anyways, it will say that for the two array was intrinsified starting from Java 6, and for that you should actually use just 0. Yeah. And in fact, IDEA tells us to fix it.
Yeah, let's fix it.
So it generated the code for us, but blames us now for the wrong code. So replace argument with the array. So that's one option, how to generate this line. And the other option would be if we started like from the beginning, we would declare the array, and we know now that we want to get this array from the collection. We could use the smart autocompletion twice, and it would suggest that there is a strings, and we can use 2 array, and that one is correct, you see. So that would be a more efficient way of doing it. And now, for instance, we want to sort this array. Yeah. Do you remember which method to use to sort an array?
Arrays.sort.
And yeah, exactly. So even if I knew that arrays.sort is the one I should use, I would not type arrays.sort. I would just type sort and use basic completion twice. And that's the completion for static methods. And just choose this one. I don't know, it's just my mechanics, how I work with this.
So how do you choose how many times to press basic completion or smart completion? So is there a heuristic?
No, it's just a knowledge base. If it's a method, if it's a static method that I know that exists, then I use the basic completion twice. And if it's something to do with types,
you use smart twice.
I use smart twice.
Yeah. Cool.
So array, good. And now we can actually finally print it out. And how do we print it out? There are so many templates for printing out.
Yeah, just type it and autocomplete. It will be it AR, right?
It
AR for arrays. No, I think it's not.
I can. The universal one is iter actually, but how do we know which one to use? There is a template called Command J.
Yeah.
And you can actually start typing, and it will search and filter the existing templates by the description.
I think it probably didn't work before because I removed live templates from completion because I was annoyed by some of them. Anyway, forget it.
Oh
yeah.
So if we don't know which template for iteration to use, we could just search for iterate and see what's good for us. But iter is generally good for everything. It's for iterables and for the arrays. Yeah. So done. Boom. And another template, very good template, is sout, right?
System out.
But there are more of them, right? So if we use this again, system. There is system error, system out with formatting, just normal one, and a few others that can generate a few more stuff like a variable name, for instance, like this. This is nice. I actually sometimes use this South M for
debugging.
for debugging.
Yeah, that's
South
classic.
M is
Current.
nice, like current method, and there is also South P, which in this case would not generate what I would like to, like for the deep to string.
Wow,
they
nice.
changed it, so if it's an array or a collection, then it will print everything. That's really nice.
Yeah.
So for debugging, it's very nice. So what could we do now? It looks green, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think so.
It's almost green, but we can do it better.
I know how to do better. You know what I mean now. Convert to Kotlin.
Oh, that's one option.
If you feel adventurous.
But if we could take a few steps in between. So for instance, even if everything is green, doesn't mean that IDEA cannot do better. So there is AltEnter, the universal shortcut, right? So when in doubts or feeling adventurous, you can try AltEnter first.
On everything.
On everything. So for instance, if we do it here,
it just did it for the wrong line. Maybe I clicked somewhere. Sorry, you meant it there, right?
Oh yeah. So what could it do here? Replace with two-array, or maybe it
Not sure what
replace. No. Sometimes it depends on the data flow analysis. It can suggest to convert the loops to the streams, for instance. I think replace with for each, like this. Or if we had only this guy here, then we could do something like this. And it should be the same with this one. I think.
Maybe it depends on which expression you do AltEnter, right?
No. Yeah, it does, and it depends on which code we just wrote. Because normally I use the list here. Yeah, like doesn't do stuff. Yeah. But anyways, like sometimes,
I know what you mean.
sometimes when you feel adventurous, you can just type AltEnter and IntelliJ will do something or suggest to do something. That's cool. We can proceed further, even start extracting the lines and into methods. For instance, what if we extract this guy? No, this part into a method. So, for instance, read lines, right?
Yeah.
So, starting from last year, I think, or the beginning of this year, this dialog here features a preview button. So if we press that, we get a preview. It's like on
in presentation mode.
In presentation mode, it doesn't
Confusing.
look good, but on a big screen, on a normal screen, let's say a developer screen, you would be able to
preview
and there is there is a combo box like side by side viewer.
Yes.
But you can also use the unified viewer.
So that's what it's gonna look like.
Yeah.
Yeah, looks fine to me.
And then do refactor.
LSD or something. I can click for you.
Yeah. Change the focus. So that was one nice feature. And suppose we are creating a utility, not a static method anymore, but something else. Let's call it some other way, like public void, maybe consume.
Okay.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then the other one would not be static method anymore. It could be public as well. Just doing some fun transformations with the code. So but we don't have an interface. Why don't we have an interface? We could have an interface. There is a extract refactoring.
Yeah.
I never remember the shortcuts for refactorings more than extract a variable or extract a method. But there is extract interface.
Yeah. There is refactor this. I think it's
Refactor
LT,
this.
and then you can find.
Yeah, but I
things
don't
in there.
even remember that.
Okay.
And interface is successfully created. And now if we move to this interface, we extracted the interface, but we didn't add a method.
Yeah.
So what if we want to now add a method, but we already have the interface? There is another refactoring called pull members up.
Yeah, but that's super old though. That's like 10 years ago. Yeah. Probably more.
When everybody was reading that Martin Fowler's book.
Yeah.
So
should we do both?
Yes, let's do both and command. Now it added the override annotation and now we can actually. How would you navigate to the super type?
Command U.
Command G.
U.
Command
for up,
U.
going up.
But if you don't know the shortcut, AltEnter.
Yeah, that's
go to super method.
Somewhat new, I think. This thing.
Yeah, probably was added last year, but it also shows that AltEnter is going to do much more than just suggesting to convert something. It's going to, I think they will add more stuff in there so that it would help users and be the universal shortcut for most of the things.
Yeah.
So I actually really like it, and the same way backwards, right? So go to the implementation. What is also cool, if you actually use Command B, it will go to the invocation. So Command B is two ways. It goes two ways. It doesn't go only to the definition, like normally, but it also goes to the invocation. And if you have two invocations, from this declaration, it would ask to which one you want to go. And you can actually check without going there what is the place and where it's located. Currently, it's the same place basically, so it will be no difference, but it's really cool. All right, I think the next step would be probably transforming it to Kotlin.
Can I just try quickly?
Yeah.
Just to see what happens. I have no idea. So what's like Java to Kotlin? Right, this complicated shortcut. Oh no, what's going on? This looks funny because that's a keyword. Don't really need to throw things, right? Then why it's complaining? Oh, assignment is not an expression. Ooh, it's not that smooth anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I'll undo it. It's too much.
But it was fun. I'll probably could play with it a little bit more. I don't know why the loop did not transform. Sounds a little strange.
Yeah, I think like my whole point was instead of doing all of this, it would be much easier in Kotlin. This groovy style, just read lines, done. That would be nice. But yeah, this was quite interesting overall. As a mini retro, I definitely learned something from you for sure.
But I'm pretty sure a lot of people who would watch this, they would learn about F2. F2 is the shortcut, or like the other one, AltEnter. Even if you know AltEnter, you probably don't realize that you can use it much more than just for quick fixes or anything. Yeah. But F2 is like the killer.
Cool. Should we stop here then?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, cool. Then thank you for watching. Bye.
And hope you enjoyed.